Hello and welcome to the LAPSED Geek podcast presented to you by Comic Geekdom. It's what you've been waiting for, the Deadpool Wolverine non-spoiler review brought to you by Geeks for Geeks. And before we get started, we'd love it if you would go down there and gently stroke the subscribe button and give us a like if you like the content here at Comic Geekdom. This may be our first video, but we plan to bring you the best in sci-fi, comic books, toy reviews, just everything under the geek banner. Hit us up, tell us what you want us to review, tell us what you want us to look at. I don't care if it's 20 years old, we will go back out there, we will find it, we will do a review for you, we'll do a discussion, and just anything and everything under the sun, okay? You'll have to excuse us. My studio isn't quite ready yet, but I just saw the film and I wanted to get this spoiler-free review up for you and just to get the ball rolling as far as the discussion on this film. Okay? You can find us on Facebook at Comic Geekdom. You can also find us on Instagram and Threads, also at Comic Geekdom. We'll probably put the links down there or something. I don't know. But if you want to find us, we're around. And we'd love to see you. Okay, so on to the review. In a word, the movie is fun. Okay, that's it. The movie is fun. It's something that you can turn your mind off for the entire runtime. And you can enjoy the moving pictures, the jokes, the hijinks, the performances, and most of all, the glorious, glorious action, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay, it's an enjoyable, fun movie. Okay. The problem with it may be that there isn't much more to the film. Okay, I don't want to get into any spoilers here. We'll save that for probably another video after the weekend, most likely, so that some people have had a chance to see it before we get into any kind of spoiler discussion. I don't want to do that to you guys. Okay, but the problem is that being around in geek chats is that some people I've already seen have built this movie up through rumors and speculation and whatnot into something else. And this movie very much knows what it wants to be, and it presents it and does it well. But sometimes when people have an idea of the film they want to see, they bring that in to the film. And then when it isn't the movie they expected or wanted, then they're disappointed. But that's not really a critique on the film and what the film was doing, if that makes any sense. Again, without spoilers, it's kind of hard. But the movie knows what it wants to be, and I think does it very, very successfully. Because it isn't to say that this movie is just jokes and action, because it isn't. There is a very solid plot here, okay? And there are character arcs for the main protagonists, and they're good, okay? This isn't Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm sorry if you like the film, okay? But I did not find it to be very good, and I loved Ragnarok. But Thor: Love and Thunder seemed to be finding another excuse to tell another joke, to do another visual gag, and to do things like that. And while humor is baked into the very DNA of Deadpool Wolverine, it flows naturally. It's not looking for a punchline. It's not looking to set up a joke. The jokes are there already. It flows naturally into the film, and the film allows itself to breathe. It allows the joke to be told, and more serious moments to have a moment to breathe without the need to tell another joke, without the need to break that up and say, oh, here, laugh now, which in Thor: Love and Thunder felt very cringy at times. And I'd have to say, I don't think there was any moment in Deadpool Wolverine that felt cringy. Deadpool's arc is good. I think better than it was in Deadpool 2. And in my opinion, I think Wolverine's was actually better. They do a great job with him here, and his arc is very, very, very cool. And I think people are going to enjoy it. So the performance is solid. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. If you weren't convinced in Deadpool 1 and 2, I honestly don't know what to tell you. He embodies the character. He is Deadpool, and I feel sorry for anyone who has to take up this role if they were ever to recast, if they were ever to have anybody else play the character, which, let's be honest, down the line, somebody is going to. And I feel sorry for that person because Ryan Reynolds is absolutely Deadpool. He's natural as the character. He has been since he did it in Deadpool 1. No, not in the Wolverine Origins movie. Okay, and obviously he's joked about that many times. Jackman is great as Wolverine. This is like, what, the 10th time he's played the character. It is very much the character from the Singer films and so on, and the continuation of those. He's that Wolverine, and he plays that character well. And he's a great actor, and he puts in a great performance here, both in the funnier moments, the action moments, and of course, the deeper dramatic moments. He brings a gravitas to the role, and Hugh Jackman has proven himself, obviously, as Wolverine, and he's very good here. I think we need to give a little shout out to Emma Corrin, who plays Cassandra Nova. She's really good in this film. It must have been difficult to be with Hugh Jackman and to be with Ryan Reynolds because of the way they are and how overpowering their personalities, I'm sure, could be. But she plays the role with a subtlety at times, both in facial expressions as well as the way she delivers lines, that really, there's a playfulness to her at times, and then she can just turn absolutely terrifying, and it's well done. And I think people are going to really appreciate her take on the character. I like it better than the take of the character in the comics. I was never the hugest Cassandra Nova fan. I really liked her in this. I thought she was fantastic. The action. Let's get into the action. The action is an absolute symphony of blood and gore and fun. I love bringing my kids with me to go see movies, and especially when they're geek comic films. And I knew they couldn't watch Deadpool Wolverine, okay? They have not watched the first or the second one either. And I've exposed them to some terrible, terrible things, pure parental failure. But this one I have not exposed them to. And the opening credits alone of this film, it's like immediately, oh my God, if you brought your children, they will be changed forever. Okay. Yeah, it's not for kids. This isn't John Woo at the Hong Kong cinema height type action. Okay. It's not hard boiled. It's not The Killer. It doesn't have that operatic beauty that John Woo could bring to a gunfight or anything like that. It's not that. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's still great action. It's still fun. There's humor infused throughout. There's a couple crass moments, which you probably have already seen in some of the trailers. But fun, good stuff, enjoyable, and the action keeps you gripped. Some of the fight scenes run a tiny bit long. The Honda Odyssey one, I would say, but still very funny, and it ends usually very, very well, and they know when to punctuate it. Okay. Let's move on to the cameos. I will not spoil any of them. I will not mention any of the cameos in this video, but they are glorious and they are abundant. Like, just when you thought you saw this cameo like 20 minutes into the film and you're like, oh, that was perfect. My God, that was beautiful. Like, how funny was that? And then they'll blow you away again. And then you'll go, man, all right, whew, that was fantastic. Like, it's not going to get better than that. And then they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it again. Some of the greatest cameos in a comic book film, possibly most any type of film that you'll ever see. You'll see in this. It's awesome. And I hate the fact that it's going to be memed to death almost immediately and probably spoiled for a lot of people, because you guys deserve to watch it without spoilers, which thankfully I was able to, and it was fantastic and it's awesome. It's almost, that probably deserves a podcast all on its own and a discussion all on its own. It's fantastic. People are going to be talking about it forever. And yeah, every time you saw something and you do the Leo like thing, oh my God, him or her or whatever. And, 10 minutes pass by and another one does it again. And it's just fantastic. There's even some characters that show up from previous films and stuff that, again, we'll discuss at a later point. But really, really great stuff. Now onto the subject of homework, which seems to be always the thing with MCU. Do you need to do homework to watch this film? And the answer is really no. I guess a slight spoiler. I mean, it's in the previews, but the TVA is in this. You do not need to watch Loki. There are references to it. Of course, if you have watched Loki, you're going to get it more. You don't need to understand what's happening in the film. Okay, that's first. The thing is, though, is that there are many, many jokes here, obviously, that reference Fox. And I mean, Reynolds really takes it to Fox beautifully in this film. But not only that, but there's a lot of jokes and discussion about like sort of the Fox time with this franchise. And so there's a lot of references and jokes to that if you are not familiar with Fox's tenure with the Marvel properties, the jokes are going to fly over your head. Now, some of the jokes are, 20 years old. So yeah, it's, so is that homework? I don't know, or an appreciation of stuff that came from the past. But anyway, the more familiar you are with that aspect of, the Fox filmography, then the better off you're going to enjoy a lot of jokes that come into this film. But yeah, again, homework, no, not really. Okay, so this has already gone on too long. We want to keep it short, sweet for you. Overall, if you like Deadpool 1, if you like Deadpool 2, you're going to love, and I mean love, this movie. I don't mean to get into just go in there, enjoy it, love it for what it is, because it's a lot of fun. Go see it with friends, go see it with whoever, it's a lot of fun and enjoyable, and it should be seen as such. I would have to say, I hate to rank things, but if I had to rank the three movies, I would have to say Deadpool 1 is still better. I like the strong narrative that exists in Deadpool 1, the heart behind it. This one has heart too. Deadpool 3 comes in under 1, and then I would say Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2, I think, was just a little muddied by too many storylines that came in and everything. But otherwise, this one was solid. It's probably even better than 1 at certain points, especially with things like the cameos and things like that. So overall, really enjoyable, fun film. I think we're going to have to give it a final score about 7.5 out of 10 stars. Go see it. Fly your geek flag high. And we will see you next time again here at the LAPSED Geek Podcast, brought to you by Comic Geekdom.